Democratic State Representative Trey Martinez Fischer of San Antonio. Thank you so much and welcome back to Eye on Politics.
Thank you, Jack. Good to be with you.
Good to be with you, sir. And so, what is your reaction to Governor Abbott deploying more than 400 Texas troops to the Rio Grande, the border there, along with C-130 aircraft and Chinook helicopters, so that they can coordinate with the Trump administration?
I don't know if the governor has figured it out yet, but President Trump has appointed a Homeland Security Secretary already, and maybe he should work with Governor Nome, who is now heading up those efforts. Look, Governor and I always have a lot of disagreements. There's one thing we do agree on. We both believe that the federal government should be reimbursing our state for the $11 billion we have spent on border security. But if the cavalry has come, if the federal authorities are going to handle this issue to the satisfaction of our governor, let's take our people's money and put it where it needs to be. I don't know about you, but in my part of the state, our schools could use some investments. I don't know about how things are in your part of the state, but we have insurance prices through the roof. And that is an area where the governor has a lot of authority and a lot of control to bring down those excessive premium rates. And rather than, try to play, military border czar, we ought to focus on folks' kitchen table issues.
So you would like to see, first of all, you obviously disagree with the governor's deployment today.
Well, I just think it's inappropriate. I think that, he has complained for 2 years about President Biden not doing anything. Now he has a president that is more aligned with his view of immigration policy. We'll let the Trump administration handle their business and governor come back to work for the people of this state. A lot of us are dependent on you to bring down these prices, very expensive prices in our state. And when you choke off our workforce and when you make it harder to have diplomatic relations with our number one trade partner to the south of us, that only makes it harder for average Texans.
So you said that you would like to see the billions spent at the border reallocated. And I know that the budget, the proposed state budget in the House and the Senate came out late last week, and they proposed spending $6.5 billion. How much of that do you think should be reallocated?
Right. And just so that we're being clear, we're talking about spending an additional $6.5 billion. Like that's on top of what's already been spent. So a couple of things. Number one, the governor shouldn't spend this money without having the same transparency that everybody else in state government has. No more grants, no more emergency appropriations. If this is such a great idea, then we ought to open up the books and we ought to audit. We ought to make sure that we are spending people's money efficiently and effectively. And so let's shine a light on those expenses and let the governor compete for scarce budget dollars because, like I said, there are lots of agencies and departments that can use the money. So that's my first, position. And beyond that, again, we have always maintained this is a responsibility of the federal government. The governor now has a president that he believes he can work with. Let the president do his job and let the governor do his job, which is to take care of our issues within our state, not at our border.
And to your point, you filed a bill that calls for external audits of Operation Lone Star. Why do you think that's so important, and how likely do you think it will pass?
Well, I'll tell you what, in my house, whenever I write a check, my wife looks at that ledger to make sure what I wrote that check for and whether or not that was a good investment for our family. The governor, when it comes to these border security dollars, a lot of the times for many, many years, he's been able to do this with emergency powers where he does not have to show receipts for anything. We don't know who he's doing business with. We don't know if they're donors. We don't know how much he's paying. There are no metrics. We evaluate agencies based on how much money we give them. We give them responsibilities of what needs to be done, and then we evaluate to see whether or not we are getting a good return on our investment. We have no idea with the governor's spending, especially when he does it in a closed room, with some inside folks only, and taxpayers don't get to see it. So if this is such a great idea and this is such a noble investment, well, please share the information with the rest of the state. We are very curious about it. And in fact, if we are meeting our metrics and you are moving the needle when it comes to border security in this state, well, then perhaps we should invest more. But again, I think the president has a handle on it now, and we need to focus our issue or focus our attention on issues that are really hurting people at the kitchen table, which is the high cost of goods in the state.
And as far as just going back to that $6.5 billion figure, is there a number that you have in mind? I mean, do you think all that 6.5 billion should be reallocated, or, are you willing to have like a billion additional money? I mean, where are you on that?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Look, I'm a member of the Appropriations Committee, so I get to ask all those questions, right? And the governor, like any other agency, should go line by line, dollar by dollar to tell us exactly what we're buying and why we need it and why should we be doing this job instead of the federal government. And where could we put that dollar? If I had $1 in my pocket and I were to put it in border security or to go fully fund pre-K education, where do I get a better return on my investment? I'd like to get the governor's answer on that. I'll spend those dollars based on his responses to those inquiries when his agency comes before our committee.
Democratic State Representative Trey Martinez Fischer of San Antonio. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you, my friend. Have a good week.